Undoubtedly and even obviously, it is no longer news that the Nigeria's economy has been on a decline and a retrogression. This, of course, has made the cost of living in Nigeria to be high and also brought down the Nigeria's currency. The effects, causes, and promising ways to curtail this retrogression will be the heart of the matter in today's discussion segment, as the topic is depreciating economy, causes, and effects. My name is Samson Owojaye, and I welcome you to your very favorite breakfast show, Morning Safari. And of course, I am not here alone. I'm here with my co-anchor. I call her the beautiful, amazing, and gorgeous Alaja.
Thank you for that. Good morning and welcome to Morning Safari. And you know, as we do it on Morning Safari, we have all the complementary segments apart from the discussion segment where we'll be looking at depreciating economy, causes and effects. We have the other complementary segments such as newspaper, fitness, health, the children are not left behind, and we have a background report that will lead us to the topic, entertainment and sports. All these are well packaged just to make your Saturday morning an educative one, entertaining one, and informative one. So just stay glued to your TV set. We'll be right back. I am Amina Yusuf.
Morning Safari, your breakfast Saturday morning magazine show, is available for your patronage. From all shades of opinion to exciting and exclusive interview of personalities, corporate bodies and organizations. For your business and social engagement, event coverage, product launch and rebranding, annual general meetings, we are at your beck and call. You can as well advertise and promote your business, commercial activities, hotel and tourism, entrepreneurship development, and many more are all at our services. Contact us today. The numbers to call are Bola 080-565-30106, Tony 080-349-71969, or visit us at our office, NTA Ilorin, along Fatih Road, Ilorin. You can log on to our social streaming platform live on www.facebook.com/NTA Ilorin. Morning Safari, we serve you better.
Welcome back, and on to the newspaper segment. I have with me this morning Saturday Tribune and Saturday Vanguard.
I have the Saturday Punch and the Day.
All right, starting with the Saturday Tribune. Above the nameplate, how high will run Ekiti State? Oyebaji governor-elect says. That will be found on page 3. Oshun Guba, YPP denies dragging Adeleke to election tribunal. That is on page 6. Kaduna train attack. Our leader of terrorists deceived us to release his wife, kids, says presidency. Operatives storm criminals' dens in Abuja. Arrest 480. Details of that could be found on page 4 and page 6. OPC Fulani clash in Ajase Ipo, Kwara State. Many feared injured. That on page 8. APC lacks interest in education. Allows ASU strike to fester, says PDP. Tinubu has blueprint on education, says spokesman. That's on page 3. Police nab 3 suspects over kidnapping of businesswoman Ero Arike. That's on page 4. And on insecurity, we have pushed, stop, and search into Ogun State to prevent infiltration by criminals, says Sanwo-Olu. PDP primary, I didn't take Atiku to court, says Nwike. And behind Saturday Tribune, note from Atlanta with Farouk Perogi. Tinubu and Obi will either affirm or destroy these two theories in 2023. And for any interest, ensure to grab a copy of Saturday Tribune.
And to Saturday Punch, besides the masthead, train attack, federal government meets terrorist conditions, says presidency. Took leader's pregnant wife to hospital for delivery. Gang requests money, release of imprisoned members. The story can be gotten on page 8. Ngege sabotaging federal government's effort to end ASU strikes, says NAPTAN president. This story can be found on page 2. Atiku's men behind suit against PDP. Tambuwal, says Wiki. The story can be found on page 10. 2023, crisis threatening ruling parties in Ogun, Sokoto, Delta, and others. PDP offers Amosu's loyalist tickets. Tambuwal's aid defects. Ibori Okowa's priority fight threatens PDP in Delta. Bikrin in Plateau, Kwara APC. Anger in Rivers over alleged imposition. Lagos community where deadly guerrillas flooding claim lives and belongings. The stories can be found on pages 20 and 21. Some people think sleeping with albinos cures HIV and AIDS. Disability advocates. The story can be found on page 15. My husband stabbed our child, dumped him to die, says wife. The story can be found on page 24. Mieti Allah drags Otum before ICC. Boa's success proves government policies working, says Buhari. The story can be found on page 8. And behind the Saturday Punch. Nigeria female athletes break new grounds. If you have interest in any of these headlines, get the Saturday Punch.
And lastly for today on Saturday Vanguard, military takes battle to terrorists. Strikes eliminate loyalists of Shekau, ISWAP at meeting point. Last Protect students spend 4 years for OND courses after fare increase. BRT still keeps passengers stranded. Rampaging burglars renew attacks on Ikorodu. Details of these could be found on page 24 and page 25. Wike disowns lawsuit to remove Atiku as PDP presidential candidates. Edo not owing salaries slams budget. We pay 40,000 naira minimum wage, the highest in Nigeria, says government. That's on page 5. Why we killed lawmaker, murdered DPO. That's on page 12. How sitting may kill you, says research. Muscle endurance gives women edge over men in sports. That's on page 26. And on economic prices, what to expect in the coming days, says experts. Current fiscal distress may threaten Nigeria's sovereignty. More Nigerians to fall below poverty level. How to save Nigeria. Unknown gunmen now known. Majority of them are Igbo who kill, harvest human organs for rituals. Their objective being lucrative criminality, says Soludo. And behind Saturday Vanguard, Ronaldo set to start against Leicester City. Ndidi Iheanacho confronts Hasna at Emirates. NFF election. I want to provide solutions to problems bedeviling her football. And for any interest in any of this paper, ensure to grab a copy of yours. And okay, next.
And now to this day paper, and above the masthead, discuss. Nigeria yet to generate up to 6,000 megawatts electricity since independence. Says country needs 200,000 megawatts to meet power needs of its 200 million population. The story can be gotten on page 5. Despite opposition, federal government said to implement 5% hike on data and voice calls. This story can be found on page 8. And below the masthead, 5 presidential guards killed in gunfights with terrorists buried. That's a sad one there. The story can be found on page 5. Buhari, why we didn't use maximum force to free Kaduna train attack victims. The story can be found on page 5. Malami, governors complained over $418 million Paris Club refund baseless. This story can be found on page 44. And there's a picture story there. Buhari meets relatives of Kaduna train attacks. Then behind is the paper. We have Oke Ikechukwu angle IPOB and related issues. If you have interest in any of these headlines, get this day paper. And many thanks to who?
Olonyo Paper stand for always giving us papers every Saturday.
And next on our lineup is fitness. Fitness. Wow. What do you have on fitness? Let's see what they have for us.
When you are flexible, it allows full range movement. A lot of people do not work properly, but even this, they don't know. If you ask some people to touch their toes without bending their knees, it's going to be difficult for them, which is not okay. As a completely fit individual, the basic flexibility you should be able to acquire is touching your toes without bending your knees. Flexibility is good. It lessens your muscle. So even if you are a bit short, by the time you start stretching, over time you are going to add at least an inch or so. It prevents some injuries like muscle pulls, strains, because when the muscle is tight, it wouldn't allow for full range movement. Then if you are walking and then your leg bends, it might cause a lot of problem. But when you stretch that particular part of your body well, it prevents this type of minor injuries and so on. It's good for the back, old women, or even just young people that usually have back pain. It reduces back pain. It also reduces muscle aches and it reduces stress.
What it takes to be flexible depends on your need. If you're just stretching to relieve yourself of stress, backache, sitting at the desk, neck ache, and all of that, then all you need at least in a day is 10 minutes of stretching, perhaps before you go out in the morning or when you come back home in the evening. But if you want to take it further, you want to become a professional, you want to entertain people, you want to become a contortionist, you want to coach people, then you have to train yourself at least 2 hours in a day. You need a good mat, you need to be warm, you need the right outfit, and a lot of other things. You need your yoga mat, your stretcher, your blocks, you need all of those things. And you need to know the proper routine to stretch your body very well so that you're not hurting yourself and you're not creating other problems by what you do.
Wow.
Something like that, I'm not going there.
Why would you go there?
I just saw my cameraman trying to tangle
do
himself
something around that.
You can't beat this
But that's
dog.
even impossible for him.
It's impossible for him. He'll break all his ribs.
This is
break everywhere.
impossible for me. I mean, this cannot be possible at all.
Gender equality.
I
You
don't
can't
know.
try that.
I can't try.
Hey, guys?
It's an impossibility.
I don't even want to go there. I won't try it at all.
Well,
My
wonderful
legs.
ladies, wonderful ladies. All right, next on our lineup is health and
We have
motion sickness.
Sickness. Wow.
Stay
Let's see.
The movement of people from one place to another, either by road, airspace, or even sea, is one activity important to human race. This is so because many cannot help it but to move from one place to another in order to earn a living. While traveling to places can be said to be fun, as many found it to be pleasant. Others, however, have phobia for traveling, as their body system gets weak each time on a journey, which most people attribute this experience to the unpleasant odor of premium motor spirits, popularly known as petrol. However, this experience is medically reversed to as motion sickness. A medical practitioner, Ismail Obalowo, from Kwara State General Hospital, speaks on what is known as motion sickness and its causes.
When you look at it from a medical angle, what actually causes it is because the part of the human body that controls balance involves our eyes, our ears, our brain, and our limbs, both your upper limbs, that's your hand, and your lower limbs, that's your legs. When you are moving around, whether you are walking or you are driving, all these, your body parts, they are also moving. Your eyes is moving, your ear, because you are inside something that is moving. Now, there is a normal balance, out of which our brain regulates how your head will position itself, how your hand will position itself. So this balance is so perfect that when you move, you are not at risk of feeling dizzy. And when this balance is distorted, you may have motion sickness.
One would wonder if animals get to experience motion sickness when they have been transported from one place to another.
There is no general answer that they will not have or that they will have. Because as human beings, we are all animals. It's just that men have more complete system. Now, there are some movements that are natural. If you are carrying your pet with you, like if it's a cat, and you maintain the cat in an appropriate normal position, maybe in a sitting position, or a prone position, then you are not expecting the cat to have motion sickness. But if you hold the cat in such a way that the head is pointing downwards, then by the time you get to where you may notice that the cat is losing balance. So it's not something that is peculiar to human beings. But animals are very, very wise in the sense that they know what is good for them.
Symptoms of motion sickness include, but not limited to, cold, nausea, sweat, dizziness, and so on. A person with motion sickness may also experience headache, vomiting, and even lose of or trouble maintaining body balance. How then can those who are prone to motion sickness can be managed?
Don't do things that you are not familiar with. That is the general advice. If usually you drive at a low speed all throughout your life, maybe you should maintain that speed. But your body is already used to this kind of speed, you may not likely have any problem with it. If you have ear problems or you are having blocking sensation in your ears, and you are planning on going for ear traveling, then it is better you get something like AirPods or even the ordinary earphone that people can put in their ears. What that one will do for you is that it will reduce the impact of the cabin pressure on your inner ear, and as such, you will be able to maintain your normal air pressure, and you may not be at a higher risk. Some people, whichever travel that they do, they almost always have this problem. So those kind of people need to take extra measures. Extra measures like seeing their consultants or seeing their doctors. I'm prone to motion sickness, any kind of air travel, I always have this. What are the things? Because there are drugs that can be prescribed. There are patches that can be applied. on different part of the body, depending on the severity of the motion sickness.
For those who are prone to motion sickness, ensure you follow strictly the do's and don'ts for better management. Always remember, health is wealth. Morning Safari continues.
Motion sickness. Do you have motion sickness when you're traveling, long distance, or?
Well, it doesn't happen to me. I think I'm a very strong person somehow.
All right. I do have motion sickness,
Okay.
actually. It's not easy, but you just have to try and get used to it, get something that will relieve you so that you can endure the journey to the end. And now it's time for our kids.
Children, yeah.
Yes, kids are not left behind on Morning Safari. We have a beautiful cartoon for you. What is it called?
Pause of
Fury. So let's see.
In a world where only cats were living, where the hero ran in short supply, to a land so harsh and unforgiving, rode a hero, the blazing samurai. When one town was found to be in danger from the evildoers coming by, bring it on, bandits! Oh no!
I know these events look dire, but we must stand on our own four legs and fight. This is our home. It is the sacred place where our kittens were born and where we will one day join our ancestors. In a shoebox buried behind the garage.
Dr. Katz, you have something to say?
No, I just got a hairball.
What we need is a samurai.
We still can't find the last one. We even put up posters.
What we need is a new samurai.
Not it!
No, think. Where did we get our old samurai?
Samurais are us?
No, from the Shogun. So why don't we ask the Shogun to send us a new one?
Okay, I've got it. Why don't we ask the Shogun to send us a new one, huh?
Wait. Let's see. What's on the agenda today? Cat fights on the Western Front? Cat scratch fever breaking out in the East? What's this? Our sacred soil has been soiled by a dog who crossed the border? Probably a border collie. Fortunately, he's been apprehended. Oh, well, you break the law, you pay the price. It's not personal. It's just business. And you know what they say? There's no business like Shogun business. Well, spit it out. An urgent tweet from Kakamucho? Bandits ravaging village. Stop. We need a new samurai. Stop. This reign of terror has to stop. Stop. Okay. Tell him I'll send someone right away. Marmalade. I need to make a call. Get me, what's his name?
I have Pikachu on line
Good.
2.
Good. Very good.
Welcome back back from the children's segment. We're sure the children enjoyed that a lot. I'm sure you parents didn't send them on errands. Wonderful. That was Pause of Fury. And right about now, we dive straight into the discussion segment. And our guest is right here with us. But before I bring up the guest and introduce him to you, let's take a short time out with the background report. As you know, that our topic is depreciating economy, causes and effects. Stay tuned.
Nigeria, just like many countries of the world, is facing a series of challenges on the nation's economy. Economic depreciation is a measure of the decrease in the market value of an asset over time from inflationary economic factors. Depreciation occurs when the exchange rate falls in value. This causes exports to be cheaper and imports to be more expensive. In theory, it can help increase economic growth, though it may cause inflation. For an import-dependent country like Nigeria, this has a negative impact on the nation's economy because the country's export income can't compete with the importation expenditure.
The depreciated economy for me, I would like to say it's the way we look at the buying and selling of people and how money enters into people's pockets. What's the purchasing power of the populace, of the Nigerian populace? So I would say, well, it could either be negative or positive.
The economy of the country is only based on oil. It's based on crude oil. Like, there is no diversification of economy in the country, and this is really affecting the economy of the country.
Nigeria's import dependence is a major cause of the falling in Naira, and this has led to the depreciation of the nation's economy. According to research, the World Bank stated that Central Bank of Nigeria's multiple exchange rates, trade restrictions, and financing of the public deficit continue to damage the business environment and hence the dependence on importation. Lack of local industries to produce what the country needs in order to boost the nation's economy has an adverse effect. Insecurity is also a factor.
One of the major factors is that Nigeria is mainly, we focus, like Nigeria is a monolithic economy in the sense that we focus on a single thing, which is oil. So that is the exportation of crude oil. So we are not a diversified economy. Let us look at the inflation rate. So the inflation rate of Nigeria is so high. So I think it is around 18.86 or so. So this is a double-digit inflation. So one of the factors of this this inflation is the rising food costs. The cost of energy is also rising. So all these factors are contributing to the depleting economy. All this redundancy of the youth, lack of manpower, our manpower is not really productive. So all these factors are contributing to the depleting economy in Nigeria. So
dwindling government policies, I would say, is one of the reasons why we have a depreciating economy. Policies come, politicians come and go, and they bring in different types of policies that affect the purchasing power of people and thus the economy. Then mostly today in Nigeria are insecurity, but insecurity has improved a very, very serious depreciating effect on the economy. What makes Naira to depreciate is one of these things. When we cannot export our produce, when importation, in fact, right now today has really gone low, the high costs on our fiscal policies, sincerely speaking, these are the things that have affected the economy, and the Naira no longer has its strong value again. If you look at Naira to see this is far stronger than the Naira, not even to talk about the dollar.
The negative effect of devaluation or depreciation of the nation's currency, especially on an import-dependent country like Nigeria, our exports are cheaper to foreign customers and imports more expensive in the domestic market. This would have been a pause on the nation's economy if the nation is not an import-dependent one, and this has affected the cost of living. Economics generally agree that economic development and growth are influenced by 4 factors: human resources, physical capital, natural resources, and technology. Our guest in the studio will enlighten us more on depreciating economy, causes, and effects. Back to Morning Safari Studio.
All right, welcome back from the background report. And right about now, it's time to poke into the depth of the discussion. And our guest is here to do justice to all the questions we'll be asking today. And his name is Dr. Abdul Hakim A. Kilishi. He's a senior lecturer from the Department of Economics, University of Ilorin. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Sir. The first question we'd like to ask, sir, is what do we mean when we say depreciating economy?
Okay, I think what you have in mind by saying depreciating economy is the fact that the currency, that is our naira, is depreciating in terms of value, and it affects all other activities. So if the value of naira depreciates, it reflects in the cost of import, and our earnings also is affected from export. The earnings from export is also affected. For example, if someone buys from the US an item that costs $100, so if there's depreciation, suppose you are changing dollar for 500. Now dollar is about 700 or thereabout. So that means you need for each item, you need additional, for each dollar, you need additional 200 naira. So for that item you want to buy that is $100, so that is 200 times 100.
Wow.
So that is additional money to buy that one item. So if you are buying, the quantity you are buying now will determine how much additional naira you require to be able to buy from abroad.
Wow.
So this is
depreciating.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. And also, what are the economic factors that leads to this depreciation?
Okay. This is not the first time we are experiencing this in Nigeria.
Okay.
And each episode usually have its own peculiar storyline. For example, the 2015-2016 crisis, it was shortage of supply of dollars that led to that, because there was global economic meltdown, which led to decrease in price of crude oil. Maybe I should just mention first that the major source of foreign exchange in Nigeria is crude oil export. About 80% of the foreign exchange that come to Nigeria come from the export of crude oil. So if anything happens to the price of crude oil, it affects the exchange rate. So like in 2015-2016, as I mentioned, there was economic meltdown, so the price of crude oil fell. So as a result of that, the revenue we are getting from crude oil export declined. So there was shortage of supply then, which could not meet up with demand in the economy. So in the simple principle of economics, if demand is higher than supply, the price will go up of any commodity.
If the demand is higher than the
supply, the price there will be upward pressure on the prices.
Wow.
So just for example, akara or any commodity at all. So if you have many people queuing to buy and the suppliers are not there, you have few quantities supply in the market, definitely there will be upward pressure on the price, because people will be ready to pay higher than exactly.
Okay.
They'll be able to pay higher. So as a result of that, prices will increase. The same thing happens to exchange rate. That if the supply is lesser than the demand, price will go up. And if the price here is how much you pay, how much naira you pay for dollar. So and that is also, if price goes up, meaning that you are paying more naira to take a dollar. So that leads to depreciation of the currency. But let's come to the current crisis. The current crisis is also has a peculiar story. The world economy was recovering from the effect of COVID.
Okay.
So and production were picking up in most of the major economies, and that led to increase in demand of energy, including oil. So as a result of that, prices were going up. Then suddenly the Russia-Ukraine crisis started, which also added to the cost of energy. So now that led to inflation almost all over the world, because the cost of energy increases, and energy is an input to production.
It has already led to inflation.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Because energy is input to production. So all in the major economics, the cost of producing increases. So what do? the producer have two choices: either to increase the price of his output or to lay down some of his input or to reduce some of his input, including labor. So that led to the increase in demand of energy, which led to the increase in price of energy. That led to inflation almost all over the world.
Wow.
So, as I mentioned before, that if there's inflation in the U.S., in fact, they said in the U.S., the inflation they experienced in recent time, they have not experienced since 1980s.
Wow.
So, which means that you need more naira to import from the U.S. But the paradox is this: we are exporting oil, and the price of oil has increased. So, meaning that we are going to get more money too. So, according to MBS report, in the first quarter of this year, the earnings from export increases. In fact, they reported 7.1 trillion naira that we receive from export, while we spend 5.9 trillion naira to import. That means that our current account balance is surplus. From theoretical point of view, if you have this kind of situation, your currency is supposed to appreciate. But why is, in the case of Nigeria, currency is depreciating despite the surplus in current account balance? Now that means that this is not coming from just import. Who are the people that demand for currency or for the dollar? Those who want to import are there. Then those who want to go out for education. Those who want to go out for treatment, medical treatment. Those who want to go out for tourism. Then there are some families in Nigeria, people in Nigeria whose family are living abroad, and they are financing the expense of the family from earnings in Nigeria, which means they will change it to dollar before they change it to send it to them. And the same thing, government officials, politicians, they also travel for different purposes, and this travel have to be financed with hard currency. So all these things add up to the demand of currency or demand of a foreign exchange. And beyond that, the government is also running a huge deficit, fiscal deficit.
Okay.
And this deficit has to be financed by borrowing. And this borrowing has to be repaid.
Wow.
And you have to repay it in dollars, which means government also need dollars to repay the debt. It was reported that in the first quarter, what the government used to repay debt is more than even the revenue government received. So meaning that a lot of dollars have gone into payment of debt. So this is what adds up to the demand, which meant the demand of currency or the foreign exchange will be higher than the supply.
All right.
So which led to the depreciation.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And also, how does currency depreciation affect the economy of the country?
Okay. If currency depreciates, as I mentioned earlier, that you need more of the local currency, naira in this case, you will need more naira to import goods from abroad. Now, most of the goods we import, most of the inputs, raw material, machineries, and so on, to our industries in Nigeria, most of them are imported. So if the producer have to import and need more, naira to import, meaning that it will add up to the cost of production. So if they add up to the cost of production, definitely it will affect the price of the final output. And there are some goods anyway that are not imported, and yet the prices of those goods have gone up. Simply because sometimes there's what we call markup pricing. Like the woman that is selling ewedu, for example, she didn't import ewedu, but she's buying goods that are imported, and the prices of what she's buying in the market have gone up.
And she's just making profits from this ewedu to be able to buy those.
Those things. So she has to also increase her own price to mark up. Exactly. So that's what is happening.
Okay. And also, how does depreciation then lead? I think you mentioned earlier that we are presently on inflation.
Yes.
So how does depreciation lead to this inflation?
Yeah, as prices are going up, because inflation itself is persistent rise in prices. So our prices are going up, that is inflation. And I've already mentioned the link that depreciation affects the cost of production. In fact, even before the cost of production, most of the things we consume in Nigeria are imported. The final goods we consume are imported. And since they are now, buying them at higher cost from abroad, meaning that they have to pay more naira to import them from abroad, definitely it will reflect in the prices, final prices the consumer pays, which means that prices will go up. Okay. And even those who are producing locally too, the input are also imported. Most of the input are imported. As a result of that, the cost of production will increase, which will reflect in the final prices. And I've already mentioned markup prices.
Markup prices.
So,
and you know, there are people who hoard dollars, waiting for dollar to
yeah.
So we want to ask that, is depreciation good for the nation?
Well, theoretically speaking, if a country's currency depreciates, we expect export to increase and import will decrease. Because it become cheaper to buy from that country.
Okay.
So, but if you don't have anything to sell, that's where the problem is. Okay. So, as our currency is depreciating, we expect export to be increasing. But if you look at the export statistics in Nigeria, it's not actually increasing because we don't actually have anything to sell. So, the more than 80% of what we export is crude oil. It's crude oil. Even the crude oil quantity, in terms of quantity, didn't increase. In terms of the volume, it didn't increase, but since prices have increased, that is why the receipt from crude oil export have increased.
So that means since we don't really have things to sell,
it is not good
for this country.
Yes.
And so what are the effects of this kind of depreciation?
The effect, number one, we have already mentioned inflation.
Yes, sir.
And like governments now, government that is running a deficit budget, if they want to give out contracts, for example, and the contract has to be given to foreigners, they have to pay in dollars.
In dollars.
So, which means that they will need more naira to pay in dollars. And we have already borrowed, and we have to repay the money. So, if you borrow at the rate of, although they are using what we call the official rate, but let's come to private individuals who want to invest. Private individuals want to invest in the economy. So if you have this kind of depreciation, it creates uncertainty in the economy. So foreign investors will not want to come to an uncertain environment to invest their money. So it will affect foreign direct investment, including portfolio investment.
Wow. So
those are some of the effects of this kind of crisis we are experiencing in the country.
Okay, when we look at these effects, of course, they are negative. So what could be done to curtail this and curb these effects?
You mentioned something before. I wanted to make a comment. That is people hoarding dollars.
Yes.
There was a report even by Central Bank that the domiciliary account, that the money, the dollars in domiciliary account increased rapidly in the first quarter of this year. So when people observed that, the naira was depreciating, they quickly moved their currency to dollar so that they will not keep their weight in time in dollars. So if you, for example, bought $1,000 when it was 500, now you can sell at 700 now. So meaning that for every dollar you are gaining 200 naira. So that's what some people are doing. Now, for the solution, the solution, the first thing is that we must produce. We have to produce. If you are not producing, look, we export crude oil, we import refined oil. It doesn't make sense. You have yam, you don't have pounded yam. How do you explain that? So we must produce. We must. In fact, about more than 30% of what we also import is oil. It's fine. All this refined petroleum, all of that, we import it. So we must start producing. Until we start producing, and to start producing, there are a lot of factors that affect production, including power, including security, including the business climate. Now, it was mentioned that the cost of importing a container from China to Lagos is less than the cost of transporting the same container from Lagos to Kano. In fact, about half of it you use to move the container from the port within Lagos. So, you see, how many days does it take to move a container from China to Lagos? And within the port, to clear it, it takes more days. So all these things have to change. Most of, they say about 80% of cargo ships and planes that come to Nigeria, they go back empty. Meaning that they will bring goods to us, which we are importing, but they don't take anything that we are exporting out. So we have to start producing first to feed the populace, then exporting out.
And we must even look into other ways or other things we can do to export, not just
exactly. Not just to consume. In fact, the market is there. We have a huge market, and that is why there is demand. There's a supply gap, and that is why we are importing. In fact, 2018, we did a work on export, and to my surprise, I realized that even maize we are importing from Europe. So we are exporting maize for Europe. So it's very funny, The good thing we don't import. So we have to start producing.
And this is really affecting the cost of living.
So
this nation.
Incentives should be created for producers. There should be incentive. So incentive must be created for people to produce.
Okay, all right. Lastly, sir, would diversification of our economy have a positive impact on this Nigeria economy?
Yes, diversification. In fact, we have been talking about diversification for so many years now. And yet, Nigeria economy has not been diversified. And we need to look inward. In fact, it goes beyond economics. It has to also do with politics. Because the politician is the person that will implement the policy. The economists can sit down and write good documents, good policy. We are not lacking ideas in Nigeria. If you look at all our national development plan, recently we have the 2020-2025 national development plan. It's not quite different from the previous plans. And if you look inward to this plan, even as they are, if we implement what is there, Nigeria will not be like this. So, but the implementation is in the hand of the politicians. So if the politician is already doesn't have the will, political will to implement this policy, there's no way anything can change. So the expert can write good policies, but the implementation. So that is why even the political, we need transformation in the political system that we are running, so that we'll be able to, people that have the interest of the country, people that have the political will can emerge from the system. But in a system where people don't determine who becomes the leader, it's a very big problem. So beyond economic reforms, we also need political reform. Institutional reform also have to take place. Institutional reform that will reduce the cost of doing business is very important. Because for people to do business, the cost of doing business must be reduced. Nobody will bring his investment to a country where the cost is very high, when there are other places where they have lower cost. Then the issue of security is also very important, because security matters to investors. Right. You cannot bring your investment and you wake up one day everything is destroyed. So therefore we have to tackle all these things before people can start producing.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor. But just lastly, can you just say a word to Nigerian populace as a whole amidst this high cost of living?
Well, some people are taking advantage of this. As I said, they will buy dollar audit and go and sell. Some we won't get it at the official rate and go and sell to the below the change. These sharp practices is also adding to the problem. So we have to be sincere, and we have to be patriotic, and let us be Nigerians and have the Nigeria at heart, all of us.
Thank you very much. I've been speaking with Dr. Abdul Hakim A. Kilishi, senior lecturer from the Department of Economics, University of Ilorin. Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming here today. And next on our lineup is entertainment, and I'm sure Amarachi is ready. Stay tuned.
I don't go wedding dada. Many Saturdays don't pass, and I never marry. Oluwa provided me more. And when I'm calling, won't be more lemo. If me no pay yo, Oluwa da mi lomo. Mama just anybody say, go Lorun you wa. No put me to shame. Ejo baba answer my call yo. I beg, I beg you. I beg you, Ọlọ́run ọ̀rọ̀. Èmi náà fẹ́ wá bẹ́ntì. Ọ̀yẹ́ lọ́lá olórí méjì. I beg, I beg you. I beg you, na 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 na. Oh yeah, na 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 na. Oh yeah, na 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 na. Answer my call. They come to work out you. Now hustle pure, no be small. I dey pray to wake up. Olúwa answer on time. Now you get all the money. Baba don't leave me hanging. Olúwa answer my call you. Mama jẹ́ ká ní bọ́dí ṣe pé Ọlọ́run ní wà Ọlọ́run. Ṣé mo ẹ jọ̀wọ́ bàbá answer my call you. Mama jẹ́ ká ní bọ́dí rí èmi wí kọ́ má ṣe dé ìgbà o. Àdúgbò fi wò ó. Answer my call you. Answer my call you. Bàbá gbọ́dọ̀ èmi náà fẹ́ wá rẹ́jọ. Dáńgọ́dé olú méjì. Abeg, I beg you. I beg you. Ọlọ́run ọ̀rọ̀. Èmi náà fẹ́ wá bẹ́ntì. Ọ̀yẹ́ lọ́lá olórí méjì. Abeg, I beg you. I beg you. Oya na 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 na. Oya na 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 na.
Hello and welcome to entertainment segment on Money Safari, your breakfast show. In this segment, I've got trending, interesting stories to light up your weekend. I am Amarachi Onyesu. I know you can't wait to hear my stories, so stick around till we come back from this short break. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is entertainment segment on Money Safari. Now to the stories. How I Got Signed by Olamide. Nigerian singer Ashake opens up. The Songba Krona said he has been texting Olamide since 2020, but didn't get a reply from him. He said, so the funniest thing is, he didn't reply me at all. After we dropped the song Omokbe, Yemoli sent the song to him. He just texted me one morning, Ashake, we have to see. In my mind, I started looking for an outfit that he will like. I went to him and he just said it like nothing. Will you like to join the family? That's how legends do. They say it as if it's nothing. Will you like to join the family? YBNL is already a made name. And any artist going into YBNL is already a made artist. From Shinko Ekun to Likesh to Adekule Gold. Yeah, they are all products of YBNL and they are doing well in their music career. Fireboy still they fire music they go. Olamide does something to his artists that I really applaud. And just like Ashake, put in the work. One day you will get noticed. Moving on to our next story, we have I am happy of what I have been able to achieve at my age. Destiny Etiko pens note to self as she turns 33. She wrote, growing up, everyone around me spent their time trying to be great. I am one of the lucky ones who has been great, and I'm so proud of myself and what I have been able to achieve in my life. All glory to God Almighty. I am unstoppable. I am invisible. I am powerful. I am so confident. I am an independent lady. And yes, I am very much single. I pray for long life and prosperity. And I also pray that my new age bring forth unending joy and happiness. In a society where infants are dying on a daily, 33 is a big deal. She also said that she is very much single, emphasis on the very. So for our young, rich gentlemen, this is your right time to shoot your shot. Moving on to our next story. I don't know how to gather people. Actress Lucy Donald opened up. She said no one might attend her wedding. In her words, you people should not be surprised that one day I will get married and no one will know, because you see this thing about gathering people when it comes to occasion, I don't know how to do it. You don't even have to know how to do it. I mean, what is the job of our Nigerian mothers? They will gather people on your behalf. All you have to do is bring man, fix a date, and they will do it. And that brings us to the end of this segment. For our sport lovers, the next segment is World Package for your viewing pleasure. Don't touch that dial. Till I come away next time, same station. It's bye.
Hello, and welcome to the sports segment on Morning Safari. I am Agufarido Mary. On our lineup of stories for today, Barcelona have sold 24% of Barca Studios to Office Media and have raised €100 million in the process, which should go some way towards aiding their transfer activities in the ongoing summer window. The General Assembly of FC Barcelona members authorized the deal during a meeting in October 2021. It is now gone through with the La Liga giants desperate to raise funds as they seek to get a number of big man signings such as Rafinha, Robert Lewandowski, Jules Koundé, Andreas Christensen and Frank Kessié registered in time for the start of the 2022-2023 campaign. Manchester United are interested in signing Hakim Ziyech from Chelsea after failing to land Timo Werner from the Blues in the ongoing transfer window. The Red Devils wanted Werner, but their attempts at the 11th hour failed as the German headed back to Bundesliga to join RB Leipzig. And now, Erik ten Hag now wants to reunite Ziyech, whom he had coached at Ajax. Ziyech has a contract with Chelsea until 2025 and is valued around €80 million. Tottenham Hotspur boss Antonio Conte is keen on signing Christian Romero in a permanent deal and are ready to trigger his €41 million release clause. Romero had played for Spurs in the 2021-2022 season on loan from Atlanta and was a regular starter under the Italian boss.
Alright, welcome back. That was entertainment and sport, and that will be all for today. But don't forget, patriotism and sincerity gets us going in this nation. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I am Samson Owojaye.
And maybe beyond economic reforms, there's also political reforms. Let's try to achieve this to make Nigeria a better place for us. For me, Amina Yusuf, it's bye for now.